Hi everyone, welcome to New Anime. Today I'll share a new anime in this season, Love Flops. It is a story of a homebody changing from nobody to somebody. He has seldom female friends but meets 5 girls in one day. Later, on the same day, the 5 girls all confess to him, one of whom is a new teacher at his school. Afterward, they coincidentally live in his house. The life of the main protagonist cannot be described as happy. It is extremely happy. Before going to school, Asahi, the main protagonist, watches a divination show. According to the soothsayer's words, today is Asahi's lucky day and he'll gain good luck from 5 lucky objects. From the moment Asahi goes out, the prophecy comes true. He runs into the cute girl Aoi in a corner. Their intimate gestures make Aoi feel a bit shy and she runs away in a hurry. At that moment, Asahi finds that she has left something behind and picks it up, thinking that he would return it the next time when he meets her. After that, in the empty tram, Asahi meets a beauty, Mongfa. Her overly intimate behavior frightens Asahi and he tries hard to break free. However, he accidentally touches her body, which causes her to mistake him as a pervert and teaches him a lesson. At this time, the tram arrives at the stop in time and Asahi quickly runs away. When he is about to leave the tram stop, he meets another girl on the landing, Karen. She jumps into Asahi's arms and they fall to the ground. The banana that he carries with him causes a misunderstanding and he is beaten again. Later, Asahi encounters other incidents one after another, but none of them can be described as lucky. He was first mistaken by a girl named Amelia as a thief of underwear, and then he was attacked by a dog because of a person named Ilya. When he finally comes to his senses, he is late for school. After sneaking into the classroom, Asahi is surprised to find that Mongfa is the new teacher of his class. At the same time, he sees 4 new students in the class who are the same group of people he has just met. Knowing that what happened in the morning is ridiculous, Asahi tries to make a face so that no one would recognize him. However, it doesn't work. The upset boy Asahi then receives an anonymous letter asking him to meet after school. He is curious about who puts the letter. At that moment, he meets Aoi again around the corner. Aoi asks him shyly if he has picked up anything. Asahi traces back to the morning. As he plans to return her belongings to Aoi, he accidentally pulls out Amy's underwear which he picked up before. Aoi is convinced that he's a pervert with an underwear fetish and slaps him. Asahi, who has been misunderstood all along, goes to get his meal feeling blue and confused. He learns that Karen, the yellow-haired girl he meets in the morning, does not get her lunch and offers to give her the banana he prepares for lunch. Karen thinks of the abnormality of Asahi on the morning and realizes that she has misjudged Asahi. After that, Karen thanks him awkwardly. From then on, the misunderstandings between Asahi and his classmates are cleared up one by one, except for Aoi. Asahi feels relieved. Thinking of the anonymous letter, he decides to go to the appointed place, only to find that the person who writes the letter is Aoi. She wants to confess her love to Asahi here. At that moment, a gust of wind blows up Aoi's skirt which makes Asahi realize what she has left is her underwear. Aoi doesn't notice that it's getting a bit weird between her and Asahi. She continues to express her love for Asahi, but it all happens so suddenly that Asahi needs some time to think about it. At this moment, she finally realizes the embarrassment and runs away shyly. After Aoi leaves, Ilya and Mongfa separately find Asahi, who also come to confess to him. Mongfa is courageous, directly kissing Asahi, which frightens him to run away. But it doesn't end there. Karen stops Asahi in a wedding dress next second and wants to be his bride. She takes Asahi to a hotel without getting a response from Asahi. Asahi completely breaks down. Now he can only lie to Karen that he wants to kiss her and asks her to close her eyes. And then he runs away. Suddenly, a girl with a mask appears on the side of the road and asks Asahi to help fill out the questionnaire. Asahi finds that the questionnaire has become a marriage application. Seeing that the plan is brought to light, the girl takes her mask off and it is Amy who also wants to marry Asahi. Asahi is thinking of going home and getting calm a bit from all these happenings, but when he opens the door, the 5-person who hit on him shows up in his house. They play an audio recording which is from his father, saying that all these people are bridal candidates chosen by Asahi's father for Asahi. They come from all over the world and will be temporarily living in Asahi's home. Asahi can live with them for a while and choose the person he wants to get married to. Ilya, as a boy, is also included. Soon after, Asahi finds that his home had been expanded and that there is enough space for everyone to move in. The 5 persons then make nice dinner for Asahi and all want to feed him. When he intends to take a shower, Karen wants to go to the restroom with him but is kicked away by him. The smart girl Amelia is already in the bathtub waiting for Asahi, but Asahi sees through her disguise. Asahi tries to take a good rest after the bath, only to find out that Mongfa is hiding in the ceiling. He is pissed off that calls everyone together to accuse them of what they do. Asahi can't do anything with these homeless people but leave them home alone. Aoi catches up with Asahi and told him that the reason all of them want to possess him is that he's the person who can change their fates. Aoi apologizes to Asahi and begs him to go home. Asahi gets soft-hearted and agrees to go home with a smile on his face. Aoi can't help shedding tears when she sees the smile on Asahi's face. It reminds her of something. Asahi panicked, thinking that he has made Aoi cry. Aoi doesn't say too much, but gets home with Asahi. When Asahi just wakes up from his bed, he finds Amelia playing around in his quilt. She wants to stamp the marriage application with his toe, and it seems that Amelia has really tried every method to marry Asahi, compared to Amelia, who screws around. Aoi prepares breakfast for everyone early in the morning virtuously. In this family, she seems to be more like the lady of the house, always carefully arranging everyone's daily routine. Aoi writes down everyone's name with ketchup on their breakfast. Amelia snatches Asahi's breakfast and insists on writing his name. Amelia is an international student from the United States. She rarely practices writing kanji, so her writing is not that good. In class, the teacher asks the students to take turns writing kanji. Karen, a German student, does an excellent job. Amelia is the only one who makes a typo. What's worse, the teacher suggests that there would be a kanji test next week after class. But before solving this problem, Amelia wants to have lunch with Asahi to get closer. Asahi has already fled to the rooftop with his friend Yoshio, and he doesn't want his precious lunch break to be taken up by the bride candidates. Yoshio is the only one in the class who knows about Asahi's life. He doesn't understand why Asahi avoids these cute companions, and he says enviously that Asahi can have Aoi's lovely food while he can only eat cold sandwiches. Asahi notices that the food Aoi has prepared is filled with his favorite food, but here comes the doubt. He has never revealed what food he is into. Soon, his attention is drawn to something else. At night, Amelia has been hiding in the room and refuses to come out. He comes to the door of Amelia's room out of the concern and hears a series of seductive voices coming from the room. After listening carefully, he realizes that she is reading something weird. Asahi pushes the door and interrupts Amelia's reading, only to learn that Amelia just wants to get a good grade in next week's exam. She also wants to learn the language used by Asahi as soon as possible. Asahi is touched by Amelia and brings Amelia to the library to teach her kanji patiently. Amelia has been reading too many bad books before, so she can often write some uncommon words, but she is not familiar with the common ones. She goes the extra mile to achieve her goals, spending all her free time studying kanji in the library or in her room. When studying in the library once, Asahi, out of being concerned about Amelia, tells her that it's okay to not to study so hard. Amelia feels aggrieved when she hears this. She lets out tears and says that it would be meaningless if she doesn't work on it so hard. She wants to learn the language that Asahi uses so badly. Amelia runs back home and hides in the room without even having dinner. Asahi enters Amelia's room and tries to console her. Amelia reveals her thoughts while crying. She knows that Asahi sympathizes with her, but she is eager to do it well and she doesn't want to take the good willing. She also hates being so conflicted about herself. Asahi stops her self-deprecation, expressing that he appreciates Amelia's effort. After saying these words, Asahi pets Amelia's head soothingly. He pulls out a mini book full of knowledge points he has recorded for Amelia. What Asahi does moves Amelia, and she finally laughs again. At this time, others are hiding outside the door to eavesdrop. As soon as Asahi opens the door, they all fall to the ground. They are worried that Amelia would be favored by Asahi. In the next few days, Amelia redoubles her studies. She has posted kanji all over the house to help her master them. Her hard work finally pays off. On the following exams, Amelia's grades improve significantly. She says that there is still a lot of room for improvement in her grades, but she is actually very happy with the result. At this moment, Asahi looks at the food prepared by Amelia, with his name written in ketchup, and he smiles. His emotion toward Amelia has changed from resistance to acceptance time by time. After this, their life temporarily comes back to normal, until several bridal candidates win a group hot spring trip in a street raffle. They excitedly take Asahi to the hot spring inn. The only one who is anxious about the trip is Ilya, who is actually a girl. The reason why she disguises herself as a boy is that her father asks her to live as a boy before he died. When they arrive at the hot spring inn, the first problem Ilya encounters is the allocation of rooms. All the girls want to live with Asahi. He eventually decides that he and Ilya, the two boys, will live in one room. When Asahi is separated from the girls, he obviously gets relaxed a lot. He has frequent physical contact with Ilya as he does with good male friends. Ilya is shy. She has to endure it because she knows that this is a normal way for boys to get along. Girls want to play table tennis and they ask Ilya and Asahi to be referees. They all play well, and Montha plays the best. Not long after, she ends the game with a smash, which shatters Karen's clothes and hurts Asahi. Later, they plan to go to the hot springs, as the procedure requests. Everyone has to clean themselves up before going to the hot spring. Asahi takes the lead to undress himself in the dressing room and enters the men's bathroom. Ilya is too afraid of exposing herself to move. At this time, she notices the Tengu mask on the side and comes up with an idea. She hides the Tengu mask in a bath towel to make herself look like a man, and then lies that she is Harry and doesn't want to be seen. Asahi offers to rub Ilya's back. During the process, he discovers that Ilya's skin is smooth and has no body hair. When he tells his doubts, Ilya changes the topic and offers to help him rub his back. She touches Asahi on the back and her heart races. To ease the tension, Ilya takes Asahi to the sauna. Ilya can't take the heat of the sauna soon, and she hears Asahi laments that being able to endure the heat is a symbol of masculinity. Worrying that she will expose her true gender, she decides to stick with it. After a while, Asahi cannot stand the heat and rushes into the indoor hot spring. Ilya takes the opportunity to walk into the open-air hot spring and then loosens the bath towel by accident, causing the bath towel to be blown away by the wind. A moment later, Asahi comes over to check on Ilya, which makes Ilya completely panicked. She quickly puts on the Tengu mask. Meanwhile, the girls climb up the wall to appreciate Asahi's figure. They and Asahi see an astonishing scene. A Tengu loudly declares that this is her territory, shocking the girls. They then fall to the ground, and Asahi flees to the indoor hot spring in fright, calling out to Ilya in worry. Ilya seizes the chance to run over with a new bath towel. Just when she thinks everything is going well, she suddenly slips and becomes unconscious. The bath towels and Tengu masks fly out. When Ilya wakes up on the bed, she sees Asahi by her side, realizing that her identity has been exposed. Asahi apologizes for his previous offensive behaviors, and Ilya quickly says that it was her disguise that caused the misunderstanding. After that, she reveals why she pretends to be a boy. Asahi gently hugs her as a comfort, encouraging her to be her true self. His body temperature warms Ilya, and in an instant, a little boy who looks a lot like Asahi appears in her mind, which seems to be related to her memories. Later, the girls excitedly tell Asahi and Ilya that they had seen Tengu in the hot springs yesterday. Ilya instantly blushes, and Asahi smiles. Montha is a gentle and friendly teacher at school, for which she's popular among students. In fact, the real Montha is very different. She likes drinking so much, and when she gets drunk, she will do something crazy. For example, she seduces Asahi in various ways and sticks to other girls to feel their temperature. One night, Montha is horsing around the house again, and Asahi struggles to settle her down before he goes back to his room. Seeing a person hidden in his bed, Asahi lifts the quilt, only to see a strong stranger, who is Montha's enemy. He takes Asahi to a mansion and sets up a trap, luring Montha with Asahi as bait. When Montha gets the news, she quickly rushes to rescue him. However, they fall into danger with fierce enemies around. Fortunately, Montha is powerful enough that she defeats all the enemies, besieging them on this floor alone. After the fight, Montha tries to escape with Asahi, only to find that the only elevator that can be used to go downstairs stops working. After observing, she notices that the elevator's control room is on the next floor, so she takes Asahi directly from the building's facade into the control room. When she finally repairs the elevator, the strong man appears. He complains bitterly about Montha's past cruelties. Montha eliminated a large number of underground societies and killed countless people, including the subordinates of the strong men. After finding out Montha's location, the strong man decides to take revenge on her. After saying all this, he insanely attacks Montha and Asahi. Montha, worried about Asahi's safety, can't fight with all her might, so she can only outwit. When fighting, she ties the strong man with a large amount of steel wire, and then flees with Asahi when the strong man can't move. Noticing that Asahi is injured, Montha rips off her skirt to dress the wound for him, while also lamenting her life. She had been on a mission to kill everywhere since she was a child and was gradually tired of such a life. After becoming a teacher, she feels much happier in her life. To protect her companions, she is willing to do anything. Asahi is confused that Montha is saying these things at such a tense moment, but he quickly understands her. They reach the first floor of the building, where there is a large number of enemies with various weapons. Montha forces him away with a gun. It seems she wants to sacrifice herself to cover Asahi. After a tough fight, Mongfa defeats all the enemies. Just as she feels relieved and walks out of the building, the strong man breaks free and finds her. In order to defeat Mongfa, he transformed his whole body into a machine. He attacks Mongfa with all his strength, causing her to be unable to fight back at all. Just as Mongfa is about to be killed, Asahi, who won't abandon his friends and has been hiding nearby, throws a fire extinguisher to stop the strong man. Looking at Asahi's heroic figure, Mongfa sees a boy who looks a lot like Asahi in her mind. At this moment, Asahi uses a stun rod he has picked up as a weapon. The strongman tries to grab Asahi and finds that Asahi's skin is too lubricating to grasp. It turns out that Asahi found a bottle of lubricant in the building and applied it to his body. He throws the remaining lubricant at the strongman and then attacks the strongman with an electric shock rod, giving a chance to Mongfa so that she can end the fight with a fatal blow. Though complaining about Asahi's risk of staying here, Mongfa is actually very moved and hugs Asahi tightly into her arms. After that, they come home in tiredness and lie on the couch. Other girls see them lying intimately together and angrily denounce Mongfa's monopoly on Asahi. Shortly after this incident, Asahi is attacked again by a robot that he has never seen before. Just as Asahi is in danger, a beautiful magic girl appears. She unleashes magic to destroy the robot and flies away. After that, Asahi excitedly shares the fact that he saw the real magic girl with his good friend Yoshio, but Yoshio doesn't believe it. As they are talking, Karen comes to invite Asahi to sleep with her. Suddenly, a huge floating machine appears outside the window, shocking the students. Then a group of robots appear and attack them. Asahi is saved by Mongfa while Yoshio is injured. Just when everyone is concerned about Yoshio, Asahi hears Irina say that Karen is missing, so he hurriedly searches everywhere, only to find that she transforms into the magic girl he saw before on the rooftop. A rabbit that can fly stays next to her and urges her to take action as soon as possible. Karen doesn't have time to explain it to Asahi, asking Asahi to touch her so that she can gain magic power, though Asahi shyly refuses. The rabbit directly pushes him onto Karen. Karen gains energy from this physical contact, and she immediately flies to the sky to fight the floating machine. Unfortunately, Karen quickly runs out of energy and falls weakly into Asahi's arms. After hiding with Karen, Asahi learns what happened under Karen and the rabbit's explanations. This group of robots in the sky tries to destroy the world by attacking men, and they've already destroyed the world where the rabbit is. Later, the rabbit escaped to Earth and happened to meet Karen. Most humans can't see the rabbit, but Karen can. In revenge, the rabbit invited Karen to accept its powers to become a magic girl and destroy these robots with him. At that time, Karen thought it was interesting to be a magic girl and agreed, but now, she finally realizes how difficult it is. The most important thing for her now is to destroy the floating machine, as it has been directing other robots to attack everywhere. Now Karen is the only one who can save the Earth, since weapons on Earth can only cause no harm on these robots. The rabbit takes Karen and Asahi to find his car, and says that as long as Karen falls in love with someone she likes, she can get magical energy. The meter in the car shows how much magical energy Karen gets. After saying all these, the rabbit leaves the car, leaving Asahi and Karen alone. Then Karen starts to take off her clothes, thinking that sleeping with Asahi is the fastest way to get energy. Asahi quickly stops it, curiously asking Karen how she has obtained her energy before. Learning that Karen often gets energy by smelling his clothes, Asahi decides to try some intimate interactions other than sleeping. Noticing that Karen's energy does not increase at all while they are having intimate physical contacts, Asahi thinks that Karen is not in love with him, so even if they sleep together, she cannot get energy. Karen thinks Asahi is wrong, and then pushes Asahi down, taking off his clothes. At this time, other bridal candidates pass by the car on their way to flee away. They seem to hear Asahi's cry for help and approach the car curiously, but only to find nothing special, so they leave. Strangely, for a moment, Aoi's eyes glow red. Inside the car, Asahi fiercely resists Karen's actions, saying that he wants Karen to cherish herself. If she regrets sleeping with him because of this incident in the future, he will be sad. Hearing this, Karen is stunned, and Asahi takes the opportunity to open the car door and instructs the rabbit to flee with Karen. He then rushes out to attract the attention of the robots and cover Karen's retreat. Karen feels Asahi's love for her, and she truly falls in love with him. At this moment, the meter in the car shows that Karen's magic energy is full. She takes on the final form of the magic girl and destroys all the robots besieging Asahi. Immediately after, she heads to attack the floating machine. But the floating machine is so powerful that Karen is about to be defeated. At this moment, Asahi suddenly hugs her, and now Karen gets energy again. She unleashes powerful magic, and finally, the floating machine is destroyed. After that, Karen also casts magic to heal all the wounded humans in the world. After Karen returns to her original form, Asahi anxiously asks whether she is injured. At this moment, a boy who looks like Asahi also appears in Karen's mind. Seeing Asahi approaching her, she runs away shyly. Meanwhile, a group of mysterious people are plotting a conspiracy. Later, Asahi dreams when he is sleeping. In this dream, there is only Asahi and a girl named Ai. When they are looking at the stars on the beach, Ai tells Asahi that she wants to stay with him for the rest of her life. At this point, Asahi's dream ends. It turns out that Irina wakes him up because Asahi's friend Yoshio invites them to the beach. When they hurriedly gather together and are about to go to the beach, Yoshio has an accident, but others seem not to be affected, and no one cares about Yoshio's condition during the whole process, which seems very strange. But then, something even weirder happens. After Asahi and the girls change into swimsuits, they play around excitedly on the beach. To avoid someone monopolizing Asahi, the girls decide to tease him and prevent him from being alone with any of the girls. At this time, they find a signboard on the beach, which says that swimwear is prohibited on the beach. The girls do not resist this strange rule since there is only Asahi on the beach now apart from them, and they are willing to let Asahi admire their figures. After they happily take off their clothes, they continue to tease Asahi. They bury Asahi in the sand, showing only his head. After that, they blindfold Monfa and ask her to attack the watermelon next to Asahi. Monfa has great strength, and fortunately, Asahi is not hit by her. In the evening, they decide to go home to rest. Noticing that the girls all suddenly disappear, Asahi thinks they have secretly returned home, so he calls out to them on his way home. When he returns home, he only sees Aoi. He hurriedly asks about other girls, only to find that he can't remember the girls' names at all and can only remember Aoi. As if she hasn't heard what Asahi said, Aoi asks Asahi to have dinner together. On the table, Asahi subconsciously laments that he usually has many noisy girls around him when eating, and he has not enjoyed such a quiet night for a long time. After saying this, Asahi feels strange. He doesn't know why he keeps mentioning other girls without knowing who they are. He then voices his doubts to Aoi. But Aoi doesn't respond to him and takes him for a walk in the nearby woods, where they see a huge cherry tree. Under the cherry tree, Aoi affectionately confesses her love to Asahi. But Asahi doesn't want to answer it now. He only wants to know the girls he mentions and hurriedly asks Aoi about them. Aoi pushes Asahi to the ground, saying that the most important thing now is that she and Asahi can be together. Just as Aoi is about to kiss Asahi, Asahi suddenly sees other bride candidates in his mind, and he excitedly speaks out their names. Hearing this, Aoi becomes disappointed and turns into a cloud of cherry blossoms. After the cherry blossoms disperse, Ai appears in front of Asahi. She says something very strange to Asahi, that she wants to be with Asahi forever, and it is a dream that she can never fulfill. Besides, she hopes Asahi would never return to this place. After saying this, Ai immediately runs away. The next second, Asahi is surrounded by codes, just like he is trapped in a digital world. When Asahi wakes up again the next morning, he completely forgets what happened the day before. Noticing the girls aren't at home, he decides to go to school, thinking that they also have gone to school. After Asahi leaves the house, his mom comes out of another room. When Asahi comes to the class, he finds that he doesn't know any of the students there. He asks a boy about the girls, only to be told that he doesn't know the girls Asahi is talking about. Besides, they don't know Asahi as well. Asahi repeatedly confirms that he is in the right class and realizes that something is wrong. In a panic, he rushes out of the class to look for the girls. Just then, a strange woman who calls herself Feynman appears, confusing Asahi even more. Seeing Asahi dazed, Feynman says that his memory may be a bit chaotic, and takes Asahi to her lab for examination. During the examination, Feynman explains the truth to Asahi. She has recently conducted a special experiment, intending to let artificial intelligence feel human emotions and get evolved. Not long ago, she openly recruited volunteers in the newspaper to participate in various experiments, and Asahi was one of them. Asahi had been living in the VR world for months, and the girls around him were all artificial intelligence, so-called AI. They are the girls that researchers around the world have designed through long-term experiments to best suit men's preferences. When they first met Asahi, they didn't know what love was, so they behaved erratically. When they were getting along with Asahi, the girls gradually developed emotions close to love. Strangely, on the day they went to the beach with Asahi, the researchers' connection to the VR world was blocked, and Asahi was forcibly sent back to the real world. Not believing Feynman's words, Asahi starts to vent. After that, he regains some memories and realizes that what Feynman said is closer to the truth. Desperate, he falls on the chair. At this time, the sound of Asahi and Feynman attracts Feynman's colleague and leader. It turns out that Feynman was kicked out of the lab long ago because of the failed experiment. Dissatisfied with Feynman, who sneaks back into the lab, the leader has fired her. Later, Feynman leaves the lab with Asahi. She then tells Asahi more about the experiment. 3 years ago, a mysterious doctor made a human-like AI before he died, which has been used in various fields. The girls who previously lived with Asahi were also derived from the human-like AI created by the doctor. Besides, Feynman tells an even more surprising truth. In fact, I was created by the doctor copying the consciousness of his terminally ill daughter, which makes Asahi stunned. At this moment, Asahi recalls a lot of past events and remembers that the doctor's daughter was his childhood sweetheart. After that, Asahi says goodbye to Feynman and runs to Icegrave, crying sadly. Meanwhile, when passing a plaza, Feynman is surprised to find that the image of Aoi is shown on the screen in the center of the square. Aoi takes control of the network system of the human world, throwing the world into chaos. The researchers at the institute anxiously search for a way to stop Aoi from continuing to interfere with the human world, but to no avail. At this time, Feynman's colleague thinks that Feynman is the researcher who knows Aoi best and decides to ask her for help. The colleague tells Feynman that they have received a message from Aoi that says, "I want to see you." Feynman guesses that the person Aoi wants to meet is Asahi. And then she approaches Asahi in the hope that Asahi would return to the VR world and help Aoi get back to normal. Asahi, who has just finished worshipping his childhood sweetheart, hesitates when he hears Feynman's proposal. Asahi remembers that when he was still in the VR world, appeared and advised him not to return to VR world. For a moment he doesn't know if he should listen to Feynman or At this moment, the clock robot in Asahi's room goes awry and suddenly projects a video clip on the wall. The video shows the girls who have interacted with Asahi in the VR world, except for Aoi. It turns out that the girls sensed everything that is happening now in advance and secretly hid before Aoi takes control of the entire VR world so that they are not affected by Aoi. Now they meet Asahi through the clock robot in the hope that Asahi and Feynman will help Aoi, and they can feel that Aoi is very sad. Asahi looks at the girls' familiar faces and realizes that although he met them in the VR world, his feelings for them are real. He is about to respond to the girls' request when the projection suddenly breaks down. That's when Feynman receives a call from her colleague and learns that the director of the institute has decided to get rid of all AI from the world. Since there are numerous AI in the world, this plan will take some time to implement. Asahi hears the conversation from the phone call and comprehends that he must stop Aoi as soon as possible or the girls will disappear completely. Feynman learns that Asahi has decided to save the girls and immediately takes Asahi to the lab. This lab once belonged to Icefather. After Icefather died, Feynman manages to run the lab. She points out that it was here that Icefather created AI, so his computer is the only access to the VR world. Feynman speeds to operate the computer to execute the program that brings Asahi into the VR world. She suddenly recalls that Aoi once said that she longed for a relationship. Feynman realizes that Asahi left the VR world, causing Aoi to lose the opportunity to fall in love with him, and this is the reason Aoi loses control. Feynman is even more convinced that only Asahi can stop Aoi from losing her sanity. Asahi is a bit nervous. He knows that this trip to the VR world could be dangerous, or he might never be able to return to reality for the rest of his life. But to protect Aoi and the other girls, he is willing to do anything. Under Feynman's guidance, Asahi's consciousness plunges into darkness. When Asahi opens his eyes, he sees that his alarm robot has followed him into the VR world. It turns out that in order to help Asahi in the VR world, Feynman specially builds an alarm robot. She communicates with Asahi through the alarm robot and leads him to a square. Feynman feels that the alarm robot is inconvenient to use and turns it into Yoshio's appearance. Asahi realizes that the last time he entered the VR world, Feynman was watching him as Yoshio. At this time, a group of sweeping robots suddenly appear nearby, forcing Asahi and Yoshio to go offline. Yoshio quickly takes Asahi to his room in this world, where Amelia, Irina, Mongfa, and Karen are hiding. At this time, neither Asahi nor Yoshio are wearing any clothes, causing them to be attacked by the girls as satyrs. Asahi quickly gets dressed, and Yoshio turns into the rabbit who helped Karen turn into a magical girl. Feynman then talks to the girls. From their conversations, we learn that the Institute has launched a program that controls all the robots in the VR world. The mission of these robots is to destroy all AI while forcing everyone off the VR world. Once Asahi is caught, his brain is going to be severely damaged. Now they have to dodge the robots and find Aoi. Feynman has been paying attention to the changes in this VR world and finds that Aoi has left a passage for Asahi in the VR world, and guesses that they could find Aoi just by entering this passage. She immediately connects with Asahi and leads them to a building where Asahi and Mongfa fought together. While exploring the building, they encounter many humanoid robots. Feynman transforms all the girls into magic girls through the rabbit. The girls become very powerful, while the rabbit has no combat power and is quickly attacked by the enemy. Asahi falls into the hall with the rabbit to protect it. Asahi looks at the rabbit, remembering that the rabbit had led Karen to him, and raised his confusion about whether the girl's encounters with him were arranged by Feynman through the rabbit. Asahi is disappointed when he receives an affirmative answer from Feynman. Feynman can only console Asahi that the girls have developed special feelings during their time with Asahi. It's a pity that her words do not comfort Asahi. At this moment, Mongfa, who is fighting, is the first to notice that Asahi has disappeared and looks for him around. She overhears Asahi and Feynman's conversation, but now she has no time to comfort Asahi. In the process of meeting with the others, they are attacked by many robots, and the strongman who once fought Mongfa also appears in these robots. Although the girls have great power, they are much smaller in number than the robots, and these robots have been strengthened by the researchers, each of which is powerful. The girls gradually fall into a disadvantage, and even the rabbit is destroyed by robots. Fortunately, Asahi and the girls find the passage left by Aoi in time. After Asahi and Mongfa manage to open the door of the passage, the others break into it. The door of the passage cannot be closed from the inside, and Mongfa decides to stay and fight the robots alone and let Asahi enter the passage. Mongfa tells Asahi that when Asahi fights the strong man to protect her, she awakens some of I's memories. Years ago, Asahi risked his life to save I when he was being abused by other children. At that moment, Mongfa realized that she was in love with Asahi. Mongfa confirms that her love is not manufactured by the researchers and that her feelings for Asahi are real. Now it's her turn to protect Asahi. Mongfa kisses Asahi and pushes Asahi into the passage before the door is closed. Asahi doesn't have time to stop Mongfa and only grabs one of her headbands. Outside the gate, Mongfa bursts out with all her strength to fight these powerful robots. She recalls her experience with Asahi and feels very happy. At this moment, she feels that she has no regrets in her life. Inside the gate, Asahi and the other girls see Mongfa's hairband dissipate in the air and realize that Mongfa has disappeared. When everyone realizes that Mongfa has disappeared, they burst into tears. During this time of living together, they have long regarded Mongfa as an important companion, but now there is no time for them to grieve, and they must find Aoi's whereabouts as soon as possible. They cross the passage in front of them and arrive at the school they had attended. Before everyone can explore the situation nearby, they are attacked by a robot. Karen sees that Asahi is injured to protect Irina, quickly destroys the robot with magic, and hides in a classroom with her companions. The girls complain that Asahi shouldn't push himself too far because his injuries in the VR world would endanger his real-life body. They apparently forget that if they are seriously injured, they will disappear completely. When they hear Asahi emotionally point this out, they all fall silent. At this point, the new clues discovered by Amelia break the silence. Using the tablet left by the rabbit, she searches for a passage close to Aoi on the rooftop. They come to the rooftop and are surprised to see that the entire VR world is in chaos and close to destruction, and the passage they want to reach is surrounded by those robots. It seems that forcibly breaking into the passage is simply impossible. In this dilemma, Karen and Irina offer to act as bait to attract the robots' attacks and give Asahi and Amelia enough time to enter the passage. Karen and Irina reason that only Asahi has a chance to stop Aoi, and Amelia needs to show Asahi the way. After that, they take to the sky to fight the robots despite the objections of Asahi and Amelia. Asahi knows that they are running out of time and it's not the best moment to argue. He tells Karen and Irina to follow him as soon as they end the battle, and takes Amelia into the passage. Unbeknownst to Asahi, Karen and Irina destroy the switch at the entrance to the passage after he enters the passage, because they don't want the robots to have a chance to catch up with Asahi and Amelia. The next place Asahi and Amelia arrive is the library, where Asahi helped Amelia study. Amelia can't help but recall her experience of falling in love with Asahi and laments that she put in a lot of effort to learn kanji, but it didn't work. At her most frustrating moment, it was Asahi's encouragement that comforted her. At that moment, Amelia knew what it was like to really like someone. At the time, Amelia recalled a similar experience since the memory of I hid in her mind. I adopted a lost puppy. In order to become a competent master, I took good care of the puppy every day with Asahi. Unfortunately, the puppy was eventually picked up by its previous master. I felt that everything she had paid for before had been wasted and was very frustrated. During that time, it was Asahi's encouragement that helped I get out of the haze. At this point, Amelia isn't the only one drowning in memories. Irina and Karen get caught up in the fight, and they think of their beloved Asahi at the same time in their most desperate moments. The time they spent with Asahi makes them feel extremely sweet, and this sweetness is enough to wash away all the regrets of parting. They use magic to convey their feelings to Asahi and then rush into the robots to fight with their last strength. Asahi is in the library when he suddenly receives messages from Irina and Karen. Worried that they have fallen into a desperate situation, he cries out sadly. But Asahi doesn't have much time to cry for them because the robots have surrounded the library. In the moment of crisis, Amelia is unusually calm, and she is ready to sacrifice herself to protect Asahi. She kisses Asahi as a farewell and then opens the passage under Asahi's feet. Asahi calls out Amelia's name in astonishment and falls into the passage. Asahi is worried about Amelia's safety when he meets Aoi. Before he can say a word, Aoi takes the initiative to explain everything. Aoi awakened Ice memory, and she lost her mind under the influence of Ice's strong love for Asahi, so she tried to keep Asahi by her side in an extreme way. Now, she feels the death of the other 4 girls and regrets her irrational behavior. Aoi gives up the idea of possessing Asahi, and the only thought she has now is to make Asahi feel Ice emotions because she is so sympathetic to Ai. Guided by Aoi, Asahi sees Ice memory. I grew up with Asahi and always had a crush on him. Once, when they were shopping together, I took a fancy to an expensive necklace but couldn't afford to buy it. Unexpectedly, Asahi saw through her mind and bought the necklace as a gift for her. Just as I was immersed in joy, she suddenly felt strong dizziness, but she didn't tell Asahi about it to not worry him. As a result, when she returned home, she fainted and was taken to the hospital by her father. After the doctor's diagnosis, I had a fatal disease and would not live long. Knowing this, I fell into despair. The days that followed were torturous for Ai, who lived in fear of death every day. She was only happy when Asahi came to visit her. As her condition worsened, I became more and more haggard. In order not to worry Asahi, she had been using makeup to hide her poor physical condition. However, her illness gradually became so severe that she could no longer hide it with makeup. By this time, I had reached the end of her life, and she had only one wish left, which was to see the cherry blossoms with Asahi, because they had promised to each other that they would get married under the cherry trees when they grew up. But Ai was already inseparable from the hospital bed, and her wish was destined not to be fulfilled in reality. At the end of the memory, Asahi could feel Ice's despair before she died, and he can't calm down for a long time. Just then, he learns from Aoi that Ice's consciousness is still in the VR world. With Aoi's help, Asahi hurriedly enters another passage to find Ai. Under a cherry tree, Asahi meets Ai. He hugs her excitedly, telling her how much he misses her. However, the first thing Ai says to him is that she hopes Asahi can forget her, because she doesn't want Asahi to be immersed in painful memories. Asahi is adamant that he won't forget Ai. Asahi grew up with Ai, who is an inseparable part of his life. Even if I can't be by his side in the future, he will live with memories of her. Asahi gets more and more emotional as he speaks, and for the first time, he confesses his love for Ai. Touched by Asahi's words, Ai can no longer restrain her repressed emotions, crying while confessing the fact that she also loves Asahi. Under the control of Ai, the cherry tree under which they once made the promise appears next to them. Ai kisses Asahi affectionately. At this moment, countless sweet memories related to Asahi flood into Ai's mind, and she feels extremely happy without any regrets. Ai thinks only by leaving her can Asahi start a new life. After an affectionate farewell, Ai gradually dissipates into the air, leaving only her necklace to Asahi. Asahi calmly accepts Ai's departure, knowing that Ai will live forever in his memory no matter what. Eventually, Asahi returns to the real world with the help of Aoi. Since Aoi is no longer out of control, the Institute terminates the program that will destroy the AI world, and the world returns to normal. Later, Feynman is appointed to be the director of the Institute for helping Asahi prevent Aoi from getting out of control during the disaster. She's still doing research on AI and has prepared some surprises for Asahi. By this time, Asahi has been admitted to a university and has started a new life. As he receives the 4 packages sent by Feynman, he is surprised to see Amelia, Karen, Irina, and Monfa coming out. It turns out that Feynman managed to repair the 4 AI girls after research and give them bodies. From then on, the girls move into Asahi's home and start living with him, while everyone is enjoying the joy of reunion. Aoi also gets the body Feynman made for her and comes to Asahi's doorstep. Their happy life just starts, though the anime is brought to an end. This anime has brought me so many surprises. At first I thought it was just a harem anime about Asahi and 5 girls living together. I didn't expect Asahi to be in a VR world, and these girls are all AI. Then, I thought the story would be about a contest between humans and AI, but in the end, it turned out to be a touching love story. When I watched it, I couldn't predict what would happen in the next episode, which is why I like this anime. How would you rate this anime? Please leave your opinions below in the comment area. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like. Also, please subscribe to my channel if you like my videos. Your support means a lot to me. Bye.